We are live here in Charleston, South Carolina for a divisional matchup that, DJ, these teams do not like each other. The Skyhawks going against the Predators. I'm your play-by-play commentator, Ramos Ling. Alongside me in the booth is DJ Kilgannon. And this is a big game, DJ. These teams do not like each other, and this is for the season, at least for Carolina. When you look at the Skyhawks, they have looked a little bit better as of late, but they need to keep the W's coming. How are you today, and what are your keys for the matchup?
Doing fantastic, Ramos. Thank you, my friend, as always, for the warm welcome. Keys to the matchup. I think it's going to be a tough one here for both squads to get the ball moving. I think we're going to see a defensive stalwart game in this one. Charleston top 3 in stopping the run all season long. Carolina top 10 in stopping the pass through the air. I think it's just going to be whichever offense can get the ball moving consistently the best.
These two teams have faced against each other 19 times. Carolina leads the series 10-9. Can Charleston even the series here at home? The hand is up in the air, and the kick is up. We are underway from South Carolina, and the return is going to come from the 1-yard line. Past the 20 and past the 25 with a spin move all the way to the 29. A decent return. Go the Carolina Skyhawks, as we're going to introduce you to the visiting team offense. Brian Dynasty is the quarterback with Riley Quintero, Ike McBride, and Hattori Hanso in the backfield. The receivers are Nolan Pierce, Chase Earl, Adam Banks, and Chris Curtis. The tight ends are Tony Zoma and Gibson Rickenbacker. And in the offensive line, Brookie Berg, Kate Palmer, Ricky Rigatoni, and Chris Cross. The latter on his 6th season as a guard here for the Skyhawks. 3 wide receiver set for Carolina. And they're going to hand the ball off to the right. A broken tackle by Quintero, and drags the defender for a gain of 4 yards to make it 2nd and 6.
Yeah, Quintero's going to be someone that if they are going to get their run game going, he's going to be someone that is going to lead that charge. Surprise breakout player of the season back in 23, and he's been a sensation ever since that point.
Going to be a handoff to McBride this time, going left-hand side, another gain of 4 to make it a 3rd down and 2 for the Charleston defense. Baron Wendt, Dan Dash, John Lally, Anthony Ellison, and Pat Redding in the defensive line. Tigger Clay, Khalil Thomas, and Ben Bauman are the linebackers. Jacob Clear, Brendan Ewing, and Leo Morris are the corners. As Charleston will get a stop here, they're going to be rules just shy of the 1st down. Grant Hardaway, Sam Blunder, and John Stemengo are the safeties, but a great stop, DJ. 4th and 1, and Carolina will have to punt.
Yeah, that was Dan Dash who was able to do a great job from his defensive end position, breaking into the inside of that run, doing a good job of shutting it down. Those type of plays, Ramos, are why he's playing at an all-star level this season for Charleston.
As the return for the Predators will go to the 24-yard line. That's where Iman Kopech will start his offense. J.O. Montana and Nick Hoagland with Patrick Rutlang are the halfbacks. The fullback is Brad Taylor Wright. Wide receivers, Doug Spelling, Nick Twice, and the tight ends are Leon Sandcastle with Xavier Solomon in the offensive line. Malineri Hooper, Baron Ibarra, Leroy James, and Finley James are the 2 guards. Finley James, a one-time All-Star back in season 17. Kopech to throw. Kopech goes deep, and the pass is intercepted on the first play on offense. Davison Joseph gets the INT, and that's just a bad throw, DJ.
Yeah, it was. That one sailed way farther than I imagine that Iman Kopech wanted it to. Just led the corner out way out too far, and that is the first interception on the season for Davison Joseph. And when he talked about how good this Charleston pass defense is, that's a good way to show it there.
Empty set for Brian Dynasty and company, maybe trying to make the Predators pay here on this play. Deep drop back, finding the time. The pass is deep, and the pass is almost intercepted for John Stemengo, the safety for Charleston. Dangerous throw as well, DJ. These two teams playing with fire here at the start.
Yeah, they sure are, and that's not a way to start after getting a gift laid on your doorstep by your rivals. And They're trying to get it all in one play, it looks like, to start this drive. Just play a little bit more slow. You don't need it all.
3 wide receiver set. Dynasty to throw. Dynasty throws. The pass is caught. That is going to be Chris Curtis with a gain of about 15 yards and a move of the chains, Carolina.
Yeah, there you go. That's a nice way to bounce back. You see the softer coverage from the corners playing about 8-10 yards off. No press whatsoever. That leaves those type of routes right there, wide open, posts that break into the middle. And at that point, once you're breaking, it's impossible for the defensive back to get past you.
Ryan Dynasty will now have 4 wide receivers set. Handoff goes to Riley Quintero off the right-hand side, breaks the tackle, and gets about 3 yards. Tamango and company combined for the stop. This is a Carolina team that has been a little bit up on the rise over the last week and a half. They lost tightly to Mexico City, and then they won against Lexington by 2 touchdowns. This is a handoff to Wack McBride. Going to be close to the first down, about 2 yards shy. But DJ, they showed some promise going against Lexington, winning by 2 scores. That defense played well that day, and the offense scored more than 30 for the first time this season.
Yeah, divisional matchup nonetheless. Certainly something to help boost your morale.
3rd down and 2. Handoff goes off tackle and put down on the outside. That was big number 93 for Charleston, Ben Bowman. 3rd season here for the Predators. And Carolina will have to try a 35-yard field goal attempt. The kick is up, drifting left, but barely good. As it's put between the uprights, DJ, a little bit too close for comfort, but Malone Brown gets 3 for Carolina.
Yeah, that one well in the wheelhouse for him, but you're kicking from hash to hash, if you will, and you get that interception in great field position. You have a chance to get some points on the board, and you do that. Of course, with the field position they had, you would have loved to see a touchdown on the board, of course, but the Charleston defense bending and not breaking whenever their offense certainly broke on that last play.
1st down and 10 here for Charleston. Starting another drive. Hyman Kopech throws an interception on the previous drive. Trying to bounce back on this one. Only 3 points for Carolina. The Charleston defense held strong. From under center, Kopech's going to hand the ball off. There's not a whole lot of room there, but making some room is Gayo Montana, getting 6 to make it 2nd and 4.
Yeah, and Ramos, I think that's going to be something Charleston should try and stick with in this game. We've already talked about how good Carolina is defensively when it comes to stopping the pass, and Yayo has been really good for Charleston coming in his 1st season on the squad, just outside of the top 10 in rushing yards and well within the top 10 in carries. He's someone that could be a catalyst for your offense today.
22 personnel. Kopech will drop back to throw. Throws deep and another interception. Davison Joseph is bringing this one back past the 20 to the 19-yard line. And Davison Joseph has 2 interceptions here in the 1st quarter.
It hasn't even been 4 minutes and a 2 on the stat sheet for him. I mean, Hyman Kopech is going to start having nightmares about this guy because it seems like he is just in his head reading everything that is going on. It's like he knows the play before Charleston does out there.
Reading that one all the way, just playing ball hawk on the far sideline where he sits. And Carolina's put again in great field position, already scoring range in the red zone. Dynasty hands the ball off to Quintero, who pushes one of the defenders. That was number 45, Tigger Clay, for a gain of about 4.
Yeah, and you look at this drive, Ramos. Of course, last time you were still able to put points up, but now, being already in the red zone, I feel like anything but a touchdown now would be almost a letdown.
Carolina at the 15-yard line. Dynasty to throw. Dynasty goes deep, and the pass is almost picked off, almost taken back by Tigger Clay. One play playing run coverage, the other one back in his own end zone, deflecting that pass away.
Yeah, and those aren't often dropped by this Charleston defense. When they have the chance to make an apex move like that, they usually make it. Ryan Dynasty just needs to calm down in the pocket a little bit and not play as risky.
Bunch formation, Dynasty to throw. Dynasty goes deep in the back away and intercepted. We'll see on the flag, maybe pass interference, DJ.
Look like it. Oh, face mask.
It's going to be face mask, and that's after the return. So
this is against Charleston.
So actually, yeah, against Charleston. So the pass was deflected, and then the unnecessary face mask.
So that would go back on the return, I believe. So they might be just pinned down at the right at the 1.5 mark.
It's first and goal. So
they get it back.
Yeah, the penalty is before the interception. The penalty is before the interception.
Oh,
and so it's personal foul. Carolina keeps the ball. First and goal at the 1. Handoff. Quintero not going to get much. He actually pushes the pile, gets into the end zone, but another flag. And it's going to be a block in the back for Carolina, so drop him back another 15.
Wow, what a turn of events there, Ramos. Back-to-back penalties that changed the course of 2 massive plays in this game, taking back an interception and taking back a touchdown. And see, that's just another unnecessary penalty that didn't need to happen.
You're blocking somebody in the back 7 yards into the end zone, and for no reason whatsoever. First and goal from the 16-yard line now. Empty set for the Skyhawks. Like man-to-man coverage for Charleston. Dynasty throws deep, and the pass should have been intercepted again. Another errant throw. Stamango almost gets the INT.
And it's just crazy. We only have 2 completions. We have as many completions in this game, Ramos, as we do interceptions from these quarterbacks combined. They just need to start playing it cool, mix up their offense a little bit, and you don't need everything on that first play. Throw some checkdowns.
Dynasty to throw. Dynasty with time. Throws deep again. The pass is caught for a touchdown. That's a touchdown for Carolina. Adam Banks gets the score.
He sure does. And that one, another risky throw, but it works out in the favor of these Skyhawks. We're going to get another look at it here. You just see the corner route. The cornerback played it really well, but then he broke back up to the top, and the cornerback just wasn't able to keep an eye on the ball as the route was forming behind him. And a nice job from Dynasty being able to throw it up to one of your best targets. Let him make a play on the ball and just see what happens.
Carolina takes a 9-0 lead, make that a 10-0 lead with that extra point. And 2 interceptions from Ayman Kopech have netted 10 points for the Skyhawks. As Charleston is starting very slow offensively so far. Ayman Kopech's numbers 0 for 2 interceptions. As Yayo Montana only has 1 rushing attempt for 6 yards. No return on this one.
Touchdown for Banks is actually his first as a Skyhawk.
That's true. Actually, I was calling the game. The last time out, Carolina was on the field, and Adam Banks actually fielded an onside kick return and returned all the way to the 1-yard line.
Oh.
And got tackled at the 1.
Got it back.
Congrats to Adam Banks' first touchdown as a Skyhawk. Well overdue as this is a carry. Off the right-hand side, Nick Hoagland gets about 7 on the play, and I think it's going to be more so of the running game for Charleston, DJ.
I would hope so with how they've been passing up to this point. Keeping it on the ground has worked for them so far. 2 rushes for 6 and 7. So in these packages, I'd like to see them keep it on the ground a little bit more.
It's another heavy set for the Predators. As Kopech will try to take it himself, and he will go down. A loss of 1 yard. That's going to count as a sack for May Carter. First sack of the night for either team.
Yeah, it looked like that was just a designed rollout run to that right side, but the defenders got in the backfield so quickly and forced the blockers into the way of Kopech that it just went nowhere.
3rd and 4, passing outside, intercepted again. Davis and Joseph has a hat trick in the first quarter.
Oh my goodness. Check this man. See if he has the playbooks of the other team, because my goodness, he is playing like a, pun intended, a ball hawk right now. I mean, you just see the concept on that left side, a little bit of a flood. You have the in route from the outside and the corner from the inside, just trying to trip up that underneath corner. And he didn't bite at all. He watched the eyes of the quarterback, watched and waited and made sure his linebacker had the underneath route before he broke back and got another interception.
3 interceptions in 7 minutes of game time, and Carolina is put again in sensational field position. 8 yards on the play for Riley Quintero. Gets a 2nd and 2 upcoming, and DJ, I mean, it's just great film study and just great game planning from Carolina to put players in position to be successful.
Yeah, and it was one of the first things we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, Ramos, is how well this Carolina team is at stopping the pass in Charleston. Just especially with how good of a running attack they have, they just didn't heed the warnings on the stat sheet, and they continue to throw.
McBride runs to the outside, gets about 6 more to about the 17-yard line, and that's something that will win you a lot of ball games, DJ, when you can have short fields multiple times in a game. Handoff again. Quintero goes to the outside, now cuts it inside, gets about 6 more. And now the Carolina running game is cooking.
Yeah, and keeping them honest is always good defensively. They had passed so much on previous drives. Now they're doing a nice mix of both, getting a lot of runs involved, especially in the red zone, keeping it on the ground. Make sure you don't have a turnover unless something crazy happens, because at this point you just need to continue putting up points.
McBride breaks a tackle, gets inside the 5 to the 4. And the Charleston defense is looking for answers, but to be fair, they've been put in a tough spot throughout the first quarter.
Yeah, they sure have. They've been playing with their back against the wall practically all night. And they've held once, they broke the other time, and if the situation keeps arising, it's going to be hard for them continuing to bend without breaking.
Handoff, Quintero goes left. Will be tackled at about the 1. And it's going to be 2nd and goal. Make that the 2-yard line, or 1.5. Carolina, one of the better rushing teams inside the 5-yard line in the league. And they've been for a couple of seasons now as Adam Banks goes in motion. Gonna be a handoff. McBride stiff arms a guy, but will be tackled for a loss. Great job by Sam Blotner on the outside. A 1-yard loss will make this a 3rd and goal.
Yeah, and that needs to be registered as a weapon in the state of in the Carolinas, because that I could ride with that stiff arm is just lethal.
3rd and goal from the 2. Dynasty hands the ball off. Quintero finds the space, and it's another touchdown for the Skyhawks. 16-0 in the first quarter.
And you did mention, Ramos, how dominant this red zone rushing attack is for Carolina. It's been great for a number of seasons now. They're top 5 in the league in red zone scoring percentage. Whenever they're in this area of the field, they always manage to get some sort of points on the board. And with how their defense is playing, scratch that. With how Davidson Joseph is playing, they are continuing to get red zone opportunity after red zone opportunity.
17-0. Skyhawks lead the Confederates. The Skyhawks, 94 yards in the first quarter. It's really good. But just the ratio kind of doesn't match, right? Only 94 yards for 17 points. And that's exactly what happens when you have short field after short field after short field. As Charleston will have to try again on offense from the 20-yard line. Hyman Kopech has 3 pass attempts, and all of them have been intercepted.
Oh, man. I just don't think I've ever seen a stat like that. If I'm a coach on the sideline, and I guess you can attest to this as well, I'm telling my quarterback, stop throwing towards him. Just stop.
Yeah. Offset I formation. Kopech will throw. Kopech has time, throws middle, and the pass is caught. One-handed reception. A really good one by Doug Spelling. First down, Predators.
There we go, and that one a longer developing route. Just a cross route across the middle. You see fighting the press of Davison Joseph again, and that time he's trailing in coverage, and a pretty good throw by Kopech. Maybe that one will get his confidence up a little bit, shake the cobwebs off of what's been a rough first quarter for him.
On the 36-yard line, 1st down and 10, Charleston. And a man in motion. Gonna be Brad Taylor Wright. Rolling to the right. Kopech throws. The pass is knocked away and almost intercepted for the 4th time in the first quarter. Eventually, that was big number 90, Mojo McClain, with the pass deflection, 2nd and 10.
It looked like another one of the linebackers was able to bat it up, and Mojo almost able to pull it in, but just unable to haul it in, and you can't blame them. They've got enough of them. As long as you can stop Charleston in their tracks, will be all right. Seems like they're doing so very well against the pass tonight.
2nd down and 10. Kopech to throw. Kopech climbs in the pocket. The pass is caught, breaking the tackle, and getting past midfield is number 88, Xavier Solomon on the catch. 1st down, Charleston.
Yeah, and Xavier Solomon is someone for them that they're going to need to get going in this game if they want their passing attack to work. You see a little zig route well downfield, kind of cuts to the outside and then back in, tricking up the linebacker who would have been in coverage on him. And whenever you have a tight end that's shifty enough to run those zig routes, it's going to be hard for any linebacker to keep up with.
16 seconds left in the first quarter. Handoff inside goes to Montana for a gain of a couple, and likely the last play of the first quarter. A first quarter dominated by Davison Joseph and the Carolina Skyhawks. 17-0. Skyhawks over Predators. We'll be right back. Back in Charleston, South Carolina, Ramos Lynn and DJ Kilgannon here on the call. Carolina Skyhawks up to a dominant first quarter, 17-0, but Charleston has been able to move the ball a little bit, now past midfield, and they'll put a player in motion. That's number 88, Solomon, the tight end. They're going to throw. Kopech goes outside, and the pass is caught somehow in between 2 different players. Spelling gets the catch.
Yeah, it's another risky throw there from Kopech. It looks like he might have gotten a little bit of his swagger back. Thrown into a tight double coverage as both corners kind of shaded towards that out route. But looks like that's where Kopech was going the whole way, and did so with success.
Charleston nearing scoring position for the first time tonight. Kopech will throw. Kopech throws deep, and the pass is incomplete. Another pass breakup. That is Davison Joseph again on the PBU. 2nd down.
Yeah, it looks like Kopech trying to get over his fears, if you will. That's the best way to face him, is head on. Tries to throw it up one-on-one. Not a bad attempt, especially with a talented receiver out there. But Joseph is just having a career day, and just all over that one.
Empty set for Kopech, who will throw the pass deep. The pass is caught, finding his receiver wide open past everybody. That is Doug Spelling with a huge gain in the 1st down and goal. Charleston.
Yeah, it looks like Spelling just won the press off the line, able to slip behind the defender. Dynasty probably didn't expect that one, or Kopech, didn't expect that one to be wide open. And you could see it. If that one was just a little bit more far out in front, would have been a touchdown. But had to kind of stop up, go up in the air and get it. So the defensive back chasing him down. But with your rushing attack, I'm sure they'll be able to punch it in for 6 here.
Heavy formation, handoff. Montana gets caught up behind the line and maybe just gets back to the line of scrimmage, as Charleston will try again from about the 1.5-yard line.
Yeah, just keep with it. Don't switch it up. You know this can work. You just gotta find a hole.
2nd and goal. Roll out. Kopech will try with his legs, and Kopech finds the end zone. Touchdown, Predators.
Yeah, it looked like a very similar rollout to what we had seen previously on a Charleston drive. Looked like a rollout all the way, and Kopech saw a lane, and like we mentioned, found a hole in the defense, and that's one trouble you're going to have whenever you put so many bodies into the box like that those outside runs are going to be wide open like that. The fullback got ahead, made a block, and Kopech just waltzed in.
The extra point is up and good, and now Charleston cuts the lead down to 17-7. And it will be interesting to see, DJ, because now finally their defense will be, presumably put in a better position that they've been throughout the game.
Yeah.
See if the Charleston defense can hold this kick. Will go about 6 yards deep into the end zone, and taking a knee is Nolan Pierce. So we'll see Bryant Dynasty back onto the field, 3 of 6 for 39 yards and a touchdown. Riley Quintero with 9 attempts, 33 yards, and also a score. Ike McBride, 4 rushes, 16 yards, as well as a catch for 3. 3 receivers for Dynasty. We'll hand the ball off to Riley Quintero, gets about 2 yards. That tackle made by John Stamango, who's been very active here in the first half.
Yeah, he sure has. Top 5 in the league in total tackles coming into this week with 93. Leads this Charleston squad by a huge margin from that strong safety spot.
Handoff goes to McBride on the outside. McBride will get about 5. Make it a 3rd down and 3. Playbook wide open for Carolina.
Very potent 1-2 punch back there in the backfield of Carolina. Quintero top 5 in rushes this season. And Ike McBride has just under 100 as well.
Toss play going to the outside. That is going to be Quintero with another 1st down. 5-yard pickup. And a move of the chains for the Skyhawks.
Yeah, and you mentioned it at the start of this drive, Ramos. I'm interested to see if this offense can continue to produce without such dominant field position, because this is really the first test we're getting to see on a full drive for Carolina.
No, that one read all the way as Baron Wen gets the tackle for a loss, a 2-yard loss. Ike McBride, just no blocking on the outside.
Yeah, that one just read all the way, and runs to the outside are going to be snuffed out easily whenever your defensive ends are sealing the edge so well.
Dynasty to throw, goes deep, and the pass is caught for a 1st down. That is Gibson Rickenbacker's first target of the game, which goes for a big 1st down.
And it looked like just a little post route into the middle, and the middle of that defense was split pretty well. You had 2 vertical routes on both sides of the linebackers, which kind of made them shift to the outside. And Rickenbacker, when he cut to the middle of the field, it was just completely wide open.
Handoff goes to Quintero, gets about 3 more yards on the play. And, that's how you grind, a defense, DJ. Not every run is going to be, 10, 12 yards. I mean, this is the SFL Pro League. It's hard. It's hard to run the ball. And, Carolina doing a decent job at it so far. Another handoff. That's going to be Quintero again for another 3-yard gain. Make it 3rd down and 4. And they really have done a good job of, for the most part, getting ahead of the sticks on 3rd down.
Yeah, they have. And, especially with runs setting up to 3rd and very manageable, your offense is pretty open to the possibilities of what it can do. Just setting up well for 3rd down is super important.
Dynasty under pressure, but throws the ball to Chris Curtis, and Curtis is loose past the 30 to the 27-yard line. Finally stopped there, but a perfect play call for the Carolina Skyhawks. Just a quick drag route to Chris Curtis, who does the job after the catch.
Yeah, that was terrific, and we talked about your playbook being that wide open. I think that really showed there. Charleston brought so many defenders to help try and stop the run that they thought was coming, and it let Carolina just attack right behind them, the drag route, and then Gibson Rickenbacker as well, blocking well downfield, gave Curtis so much more room to run.
Bunch formation for the Skyhawks. Roll out, Dynasty to throw, throws middle, the pass is caught, and Banks for a 1st down to the 12.
Yeah, it looks like they're just getting a lot of people involved on this Carolina offense. We've seen multiple targets now. For Bryant Dynasty, get targets. Adam Banks, Chris Curtis, Gibson Rickenbacker, all having solid games up to this point. And you look at the completion percentage, 66.6% completion. Hasn't been too inaccurate whenever he does choose to throw.
And off to the outside, Quintero gets 2 on the play, 2nd down and 8. Very impressive drive here for Carolina. Now moving the length of the field. This is near a 70-yard drive already for the Skyhawks. Actually made it 71 yards so far. Handoff to the inside, nothing doing there. A loss of maybe half a yard. And now it's 3rd and 8, and this is a tricky situation, DJ, because 3rd down and 8, you want to get to the end zone. At least you want to get a 1st and goal.
Yeah.
But that's something that you will have to think Charleston is waiting for.
Yeah, I'd absolutely imagine so. It looks like they're set up in a dime look to counter this bunch. They definitely expect to pass.
Dynasty to throw, throws across his body, and the pass is gone anyway. What a throw and what a catch by Chase Earl for the touchdown, Carolina.
Yeah, and that was just terrific. One of 2 receivers coming into this week that had a touchdown from Bryant Dynasty, and just runs him up on a streak and kind of looks like he just fades to the outside as the route fully develops to the back of the end zone, and the defender just wasn't expecting the ball to come at that time across his body. Bryant Dynasty connecting all the way across the other side of the end zone.
The extra point is up and good, 24-7. What a response from the Carolina Skyhawks. And this is the Carolina Skyhawk that we saw in season 24, DJ. I mean, this is a Carolina Skyhawk that last season was a serious contender for the championship. When you look at their season last season, 8-4, and it was the way they ended the regular season, right? They started the season 5-4 through 9 weeks, and then they won 3 in a row to finish 8-4, and they looked dangerous going into the playoffs. And the expectations were high going into season 25, and it just hasn't worked for Carolina all the way through. But playing much better over the last couple of games.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you look at the East Division, it's crazy to say with them having 2 wins. It's not fully impossible for them to win the East, if I'm not mistaken. There's still a chance there.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's any win you want as a Skyhawk squad that isn't having a season that you'd like, it would be against these Charleston Predators, the long-standing rivalry with them, newly named the BNG Cup in honor of Abari Alman Eaglin. And Charleston won last season in Week 5, 24-14. And Carolina already jumping out to a big lead in this one, hoping to get that cup back in Carolina.
2nd down and 6, 3 minutes and 30 seconds left here in the 2nd quarter. Man in motion to make it an overload set to the left-hand side. Kopech's going to throw anyway. Kopech checks it down, and about 5. Actually, they're going to call it 6 yards and enough for a 1st down on the outside. That is number 48, Patrick Rutlang, the number 3 halfback on this roster, getting the 1st down. First down and 10. Kopech to throw. Kopech tries to scramble and will go down. Another sack for number 59, May Carter. That's the 2nd one for Carter tonight.
Yeah, just completely enveloped that one. The last one was on that rollout attempt, and the same coming there, getting stuck behind your offensive line is one of the worst ways to go out. And coming from all the way across the other side of the line is May Carter who blew that one up.
Since last one was the sign run, they're going to call the first one a tackle for loss. So first official tackle for May Carter in the ball game. 2nd down and 12. Man in motion, 3 receivers right-hand side. Kopech will throw. Kopech goes and protected by Shravan Prasad. And that's 4 picks for Carolina in the first half.
Oh, man, and Ramos, it was so clean there for a little bit. You had a whole drive where it was really, really clean for your offense, and then that one just a very ill-advised throw. Shravan Prasad was there the entire time. And now Carolina is going to have another offensive possession in this first half where they are in amazing field position.
Yeah, not all turnovers are created equal, right? I mean, it's not the same to have an interception on a Hail Mary to end the second quarter than it is, right here at your own 38-yard line. Quintero gets the ball to the right-hand side, picks up one. Tackle made on the outside by number 24, Grant Hardaway, coming from Atlanta. See if Carolina snaps the ball before the 2-minute timeout. 4 turnovers that have resulted in 17 points for the Skyhawks. No snap, 2-minute warning. Carolina leading by 17. You're watching the Simulation Football League right here on the Virtual Football Network. Ramos Lynn, DJ Keelgannon here in Charleston, South Carolina. 3-4 receivers here for Dynasty. Drops back to throw. Dynasty with time. Throws deep middle. And the pass is incomplete. A big hit provided by Sam Blotner. 3rd and 9.
Yeah, that was just a terrifying throw. I think there was 4 Charleston defenders in the area of that pass attempt. And it would have been like fitting a key through a keyhole there. And especially with the amount of hits that were on the receiver there, it's going to be really, really difficult to pull that in.
4 receivers again for the Skyhawks. Dynasty to throw. Dynasty goes deep, and the pass is incomplete again. John Stemengo makes the hit, and we have a player down. That's Chris Curtis.
Oh, you hate to see that. Got banged up on that previous throw, and then again a hard hit that jarred the ball out. He's usually going to catch those, but whenever you're injured, there's only so much you can do. And hopefully we'll see him come back in later in the game healthy.
That's a huge stop for Charleston, who forces a punt from Carolina. It's potentially a game-saving stop here for the Predators as the punt is away. Short punt at that. They'll be fielded at about the 16-yard line, so only about a, 18-yard net punt. And Charleston will start from 16.
It's got to give you some confidence at least a little bit if you're Charleston. That's the first turnover drive Carolina has had that they haven't been able to punch some points into your punching some points. And maybe that gets your defense playing even better than they already are, or maybe gives your offense that extra boost of motivation to drive fully downfield.
And in motion, offset I formation for Kopech, drops back to throw. Kopech throws deep, and the pass is almost picked again as Mike Ryan gets the PVU. Like this video, and I'll say it again, like this video. Please support our hard-working crew by smashing the like button, subscribing and commenting on this video. It really helps the channel out. Turn notifications on so you'll never miss a live stream, highlight, or podcast. Thanks for your support of the Virtual Football Network and the SFL. 2nd down and 10 yards to go. And if you're Charleston, DJ, you just hold your breath when Iman Kopech is throwing the football. Kopech will throw again. Kopech throws deep, and the pass is incomplete. A huge hit provided by Mike Ryan. Big back-to-back plays for Ryan. 3rd and long.
Yeah, and I mean, you got to be nervous, but I mean, they continue to do it. They have more passes than runs up to this point. You only have 8 designed halfback runs up to this point. And, 5 halfback runs up to this point. 3 of which came from Kopech that were shut down. And this is touchdown. But only 5 completions through this first half, and they continue to throw.
It's going to be an empty set, so another throw. Kopech drops back. Kopech with time, scrambles, and the pass deep is caught this time. And that is Nick Hoagland running a post route, getting the first down. 1 minute and 24 seconds left in the second quarter. Let's see if Charleston tries to go with a quick huddle here. Chance to put some points on the board.
Yeah, and they just hit the halfback well downfield. A great post route for the former receiver out of Arizona, being able to go up and in one-on-one coverage and pull that one down. Looking like his former self out there.
Roger McClain shuts that down for a 2-yard loss, and Charleston will call their first timeout.
And we're going to need to see more passing if you're Charleston, which of course is going to make, us and all of these viewers even more and more nervous every time he drops back. But that's really all they can do with as little time left as they have in the half.
Kopech throws deep and the pass incomplete into triple coverage, including Mojo McLean and Davison Joseph in the vicinity. 3rd down and 12.
Yeah, and I mean, the last thing you want now is a turnover coming back the other way for Carolina, just because you don't have a lot of time left in the half. And if Carolina is able to get some points off of another turnover, I think things are starting to look shaky.
Kopech drops back. He's going to just throw the screen pass. That's not going to go for much. A 3-yard gain. And to your point, they were thinking the same thing, right? Just not throwing on an interception. Let's just check it down, see if we can get something after the catch, and punt this one away.
I don't know about you, Ramos. I wouldn't hate to have seen a timeout from Carolina after that screen play was brought down. Because
likewise.
Still had 2 in your back pocket. Would have probably been 50, 55 seconds that you would have had left on the clock with 2 timeouts. But now Charleston doing as they should, letting most of the time drain away.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now you also look at this punt. This bounces at the 8 and will go into the end zone for a touchback, just barely, but it does. You also have to think for Carolina. You have to be pretty content with a 17-point lead. You're not gonna get great field position anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, generally I don't hate it for the Skyhawks. At the end of the day, you're content going into the half, up 3 scores.
Mm-hmm.
14 seconds left here in the second quarter. Dynasty would throw, though. Throws it middle, and the pass is caught by Rickenbacker, who just destroys one guy. We're not even going to call his name, but Rickenbacker, second catch of the first half, last play of the first half, is a doozy.
Yeah, that's a way to end the half there with a devastating hit for the big tight end.
End of a half. Carolina up 24-7 here from Charleston, South Carolina. And DJ, when I just hear your thoughts of the first half, I'm in Kopech, just a half to forget.
Yeah, absolutely. And a half that Carolina's defense will remember for a while, especially when it comes to this rivalry. Their defense playing arguably the best half of football I've seen them play this entire season. It felt like they were completely in the head of Charleston. And anytime, I think when you're in a situation whenever you're nervous that your quarterback is dropping back, you're in a good situation to be in. Only 7 completions, however, they are over 100 yards, but the 4 interceptions will continue to be in the back of his head for the rest of this game.
Half player, no questions about it. Davison Joseph, 3 interceptions in the first quarter, as well as a pass deflection. We'll be right back here from Charleston, South Carolina. You're watching the SFL on BFN. Back here in Charleston, South Carolina, Ramos Lynn and DJ Kilgannon, 24-7. Carolina dominates the first half, but Charleston will have a chance to bounce back as they get the ball first in the third quarter. As this one will be brought to the 20-yard line. That's where Charleston will start their drive. You mentioned it at the end of the first half, DJ, only 5 rushes to running backs. Actually, just 6. Let's make it 6 rushes to running backs. Montana with 4, Hovland with 1, Rutland with 1. I mean, that's just not enough. You need to help your quarterback a little bit more, even though they're going to go in an empty set.
Yeah, they won't heed our advice.
Kopech almost throws his 5th interception of the game. Mike Ryan picks up right where he left off at the end of the second quarter, 2nd and 10. And it's just like Carolina's playing with 16 defenders out there.
Yeah, I mean, 16 defenders, and the only thing Iman Kopech has going in his favor is time. Really, the only time he's been sacked is when he's rolling out of the pocket. Whenever he's able to sit in it, he has time to make a decent throw. But these defenders for Carolina are just all over his passing lanes.
Kopech will check it down this time. Joseph puts it down immediately, only a gain of about 4. 3rd and 6 for Charleston, and this is exactly why. And Charleston has struggled here in the in the game. You know, it's the third and longs. They are forced to throw, and a lot of bad plays have come after that. Kopech checks it down again. Can he get a block? No, he cannot. Amazing tackle on the outside. That was number 36 for Carolina, D.D. Jack.
Yeah.
And it's a quick 3 and out.
Yeah, and they're sharing the love as far as tackles go here in Carolina tonight. Every defensive back having a tackle, wiping away the narrative that the defensive backs aren't able to tackle as well as others. And, you know, one thing to look at, Curtis, is whenever you have a pass-first offense, you look at other teams that do it around the league. Vancouver comes to mind, Chicago as well. Whenever you tend to be pass-first, you usually stay ahead of the sticks. Not too many third downs are going to come in favor, especially third and short. For Charleston right now, it feels like they're just consistently being put in third and manageable scenarios where Carolina knows they're going to pass the ball and it just fizzles out.
What a big hit on the outside. That is Thomas on the tackle. Only a 2-yard gain for Quintero. And Quintero had a, challenging first half. 17 carries, just about 50 yards, averaging about 3 yards per carry. But that's, it's just keeping the balance between runs and passes, which has helped Carolina. Now Dynasty will scramble. The pass goes to the outside, and this one is caught with one hand by Chase Earl for a first down. Skyhawks.
Yeah, what a beautiful catch there. One-handed on the go route there. The defensive back was just a little bit too far out in front. You're going to see it at the top side of the formation. Thought that he'd be able to come back as the ball was in the air and make a play on it possibly, but just a little bit too far out in front. And lets Chase Earl make the catch behind the defender. And a great throw there from Bryant Dynasty, giving his receiver the heads up.
Empty set, Dynasty to throw. Dynasty middle. The pass is caught by Quintero running a post route, and it's a first and goal, Carolina.
And there we go. And this is the type of offense I'm talking about, Ramos, when you look at a pass-first team. Not saying that's what Carolina is, but this is the type of display you like to see from a team that is pass-first. Not many second or third downs. You're consistently getting first downs quickly. That's exactly what Carolina has done on this drive specifically, and they're already inside the 10-yard line within just a few plays.
And off to the outside. That's McBride with a stiff arm. Nothing after that. Tackle right there on the line. John Stamango with yet another tackle. That's Stamango's 7th solo tackle of the night.
Yeah, I like them switching it up to a run there as they're well within the red zone. Looks like they might switch it up. We have seen them run out of this look tonight, though, but they will pass.
It's going to be a rollout. Dynasty to the end zone. Almost intercepted. Thomas almost gets his big mitts on it. 3rd and goal.
Yeah, it would have been the first interception for him, and a very nice zone coverage there by the linebacker. Has Chase Earl coming into his zone, traveling the back part of that end zone. He stays in front of him all the way through and nearly takes it the other way. It would have been the first turnover for Carolina, or for Charleston, excuse me, on this one.
3rd down and goal, 7 minutes, 13 seconds left here in the third quarter. A lot of time here for Charleston, but they need to get a stop here. Dynasty to throw. Dynasty climbs up in the pocket, throws outside, and the pass is thrown in quadruple coverage. Incomplete. Lucky that wasn't intercepted. Stamango and company on the stop, and Carolina will be forced to kick a field goal.
They will, but like you had kind of talked about at the end of the half, Ramos, you're content with your lead, making it 27-7. If this field goal is good, it'll be a 20-point ball game. And this is a chip shot here, well within the wheelhouse of Malone Brown. I saw him going further from this earlier in this same exact situation from Hash. That would nearly miss, though. Yeah, that's in it.
Yep, that's in for Brown. And have a 27-7 game, DJ. And, this is what Carolina has been able to do, right? They get the ball, and they've been able to put points on the board more often than not. This is their 5th drive with points. They've been able to build a 20-point lead.
Yeah, it just feels like Carolina is driving the bus right now completely. And Charleston, they just need their offense to be able to produce a little bit. I think they just need to be a little bit more consistent when it comes to switching up the play calling. Right? It feels like they're very one-dimensional. They're just continuing to pass. They're near 20 passes on the game, 9 of which have been caught. Under 50% completion is not where you want to be, especially when you're passing the ball this much.
Not at all. I formation, Kopech will hand the ball off. Left hand side. That's a good gain by Hoagland of about 7 yards.
There we go. That's what we're talking about. Especially those runs to the outside have been pretty successful. The runs inside have just been bottled up by this fantastic linebacking core and defensive line for Carolina. But the runs to the outside continue to work. Let's see if they continue to mix some of them up.
I formation, Kopech will take this one, and Kopech will get about 8 yards and a first down, slides, and catches Carolina's defensive guard.
Yeah, caught me off guard as well there, Ramos. And we saw him get the rushing touchdown earlier. We know he can use his feet, but that one, a QB sneak, turned into a lot more after the coverage was a lot weaker in the middle of it.
Then a gain of 7 yards for Kopech. As he sends a man in motion. Kopech will throw. Checks it down to the outside. That's a little bit of real estate, but not enough blocking. It's only a gain of 6 yards. That could have been for way more, DJ. That looked like at least a first down.
Yeah, it sure did. And Carolina being able to play well enough and contain. And, they're playing in this 4-3 a lot, and it's usually not a coverage that helps against the outside plays as much, but right now, with what Charleston's doing, they're able to contain at least and make the sticks harder to reach.
Rutland gets a couple more, make it a 3rd down and 2, and we'll see if Kopech tries to go himself with the ball. Definitely in Kopech's range for that. And he will, and Kopech will get the first down. Just about 2.5 yards, enough to move the chains.
Yep, you called it. Does so with great success, and against a 4-3, your linebackers are a little bit softer off the line. And the guards shoot out to try and deal with the linebackers so that, the QB is able to just quickly gain those 2 yards and slide down, and that's exactly what they did.
Toss play to the outside. Hoagland will get about 4 on the play. 2nd and 6.
And they're doing a much better job now, almost to being able to mix these runs in on offense. And, don't leave the pass game out completely. Maybe do a play action in the middle of this drive. I think that'll really get you some positive yardage downfield with how much you've been running and the success you've had staying ahead of the first down marker.
Kopech drops back to throw. Kopech now will scramble and slides down, another gain of about 4 yards, 3rd down and 2.
See if they go with the similar look here. They will. Let's see if they go with that same play call.
4-3 defense here for Carolina, playing outside gaps, it looks like. Spelling goes in motion to the right. And Kopech goes to the outside, finds a lane, and Kopech has big yardage all the way to the 35 and a first down, Charleston.
Yeah, they won't go with the sneak, but they will go with another rollout run there for Kopech. That's the same way he scored his touchdown earlier. Thankfully, he's able to get off of the offensive lineman. That's something you worry about when it comes to those runs. But he did a good job of getting past that defensive lineman who was able to seal the edge a little bit. And then great blocking downfield let him gain a lot more than he probably should have.
First down, 10 yards to go. 3 receivers for Kopech. The I formation. Drops back, throws the pass is caught, and there goes Spelling. Movement. Spelling has a touchdown for Charleston.
There we go. The first touchdown on the day for Iman Kopech in this receiving core after what was a very, very rough half of football. You saw the receiver of Spelling kind of separate away on the right side of that formation. Kopech did a great job of being able to find him once he was open. You see there, Davidson Joseph trying to play the underneath. The corner missed the ball, and then a great spin move is what was able to get it punched into the end zone.
Charleston cuts down the lead to 2 scores. It's going to be 27-14 after the extra point. Which is up and good, right down the middle. 27-14 Carolina over Charleston, but that was Charleston's best drive of the night. We still have a lot of game left, DJ. I mean, if Charleston can get a stop on defense, well, they can start to believe that they can come back in this game. This return from the goal line will get past the 25 to the 29, and that is where Dynasty will come back onto the field. Brian Dynasty has had a good game, 158 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions, and a QBR of around 130 points. Riley Quintero has been, stifled more often than not, but still has a touchdown. McBride with 7 rushes for 20 yards. In motion, that's Hattori Gibson Rickenbacker, the tight end. Dynasty hands the ball off. Quintero's met at the line. And tackle for a loss. John Stemengo on the TFL.
Leads the game in tackles after that one. Blew it up behind the line, and it's not a way you want to start your drive if you're Carolina. But, the run is going to open up the pass, and the pass is where they have had the majority of their success.
2nd and 11, handoff, McBride, nothing. Maybe gets a yard. Tackle made by Clay and company, and now it's a 3rd and long here for the Skyhawks.
Yeah, after 2 runs, it feels like you're forced to pass now. Charleston surely going to be expecting it, but even when Carolina has been forced to pass, they've been able to do so with some success. This bunch look especially has been good for them.
Dynasty to throw. Dynasty goes middle, and the pass is caught by Earl to the 49. Brian Dynasty with a perfect pass, and Carolina gets out of the jam.
Yeah, and you look at Chase Earl, coming into this season, is 2nd on this team in total receptions, just behind Chris Curtis, who got brought down earlier. So Chase Earl's kind of being pushed into that number 1 role with the injury to Curtis, of course, and doing well so far, getting them the first down in a scary spot.
Quintero breaks a tackle, gets a first down, and gets 12 on the play to move the chains again for the Skyhawks. Best run of the night for Quintero.
Yeah, and crazy to say with how much they've ran with him. 19 carries on the day for Quintero, 8 for McBride. But the yards per carry not really going in the favor that Carolina would like. But, it's still churning out yardage and opening up passing lanes, so safe to say that it's doing what they need it to.
Hand off to McBride, hurdles a defender and gets 7 on the play. And now this offensive line is starting to put some work.
Yeah, there we go, and that's the type of runs you want back-to-back. Your offensive line stepping up, making the holes in the middle of the defense, but Charleston staying in a consistent 4-3 look. It's hard to run inside the tackles when you do that. So any big positive gains like that will help your confidence.
Yep, Quintero gets enough for a first down again as Carolina approaches 300 yards of total offense. And Charleston is actually going to challenge this one, so we're going to take another look at it.
Yeah, it looked a little spotty there, Ramos. I don't hate it.
I agree. The yellow line, obviously not official, but definitely look kind of like on the edge. Oh, that's not the best angle. Let's see from this one. It's very close.
I think he might maybe call it inches. Looked a smidge short.
Yep, you call it. So it's going to be 3rd down and inches for Carolina.
With how you've been running, just do it again.
Yeah, and I don't expect anything else other than a run. You're right. Especially from this heavy set. 2 tight ends, 2 backs, including Hattori Hansa. They're just going to run it straight to Quintero. Easy first down, breaks the tackle, gets to the 20-yard line. A gain of 10.
Yeah, there we go. And again, the Carolina offensive line doing their job very well. You see the leading fullback going out in front of him, helps sealing the edge a little bit as Quintero dips and dives through his blockers and gets a really solid gain. That does exactly what they need. Only need an inch, but got a lot more than that. Having a really solid day is Quintero.
Empty set here for Dynasty and company. Dynasty will call an audible at the line. Now puts a receiver in motion. That's number 83. A name for you as the Dynasty will drop back to throw. Buys time, going to the left, the pass deep, and the pass is incomplete as he was trying to connect with Adam Banks. Last play of the third quarter, 27-14. Carolina leads Charleston. As we go to the fourth quarter, we're watching the Simulation Football League on the Virtual Football Network. Last quarter of play here from Charleston, South Carolina. The Skyhawks trying to put this one out of reach as they lead by 2 touchdowns. High formation for Dynasty. And the ball off to Quintero, who maybe gets a yard. 3rd and long upcoming here for Carolina, excuse me.
Yeah, now another situation where you're forced to pass. Might see the bunch look come out again for Carolina. They're not afraid to do it. More than comfortable passing. That's what they did a majority of the first half. And looks like they will come out in that trips look this time, actually.
4 receivers for Dynasty. Dropping back to throw. Dynasty throws deep. The pass is caught by Adam Banks, and Adam Banks is down and hurt.
The second Skyhawk down. Second Skyhawk receiver down. That's Adam Banks. Man. Join Chris Curtis in the blue tent. Thankfully, he's able to walk off the field. Hopefully, he'll come back later in this last quarter.
So Chris Curtis and Adam Banks now down for Carolina. Nolan Pierce and Chase Earl will have to hold the fort at the wide receiver position. This is a handoff to Riley Quintero. Maybe gets half a yard on that one. Thomas on the stop.
Yeah, and that previous pass, Ramos actually pushed Bryant Dynasty to 34,000 passing yards on his career. And a very, very long, great career for him.
And in motion. On a heavy set, Dynasty hands the ball off to Quintero, and he will get to the 1-yard line. Not enough. That will set up a 3rd down and goal from, actually call it the 2-yard line, where Carolina has been very successful. Can Charleston make a stop here and keep it a 2-possession game? Dynasty hands off to McBride, and McBride dives for the touchdown. And the Carolina Skyhawks retake a 3-touchdown lead.
Yeah, and just diving over the top of the line, just barely breaking the plane, if you will, was Ike McBride there, the former Legion, now getting very comfortable down here in the Carolinas, having a very, very good season up to this point and a great career as well. If I'm not mistaken, that is the first rushing touchdown on the season for Ike McBride.
Yep. Carolina Skyhawks keep putting points on the board, now up 20 again. Charleston, they played better during the second half. Offensively, they played better here, but they just dug themselves a big hole in the first quarter, really.
Yeah.
You know, 17-0 down pretty early in the game, and you know when you dig up yourself a hole like that, it's just very hard to come back. If return gets to the 28-yard line, Carolina unofficially 300 yards of offense. But it's been more so than the yards. It's been the fact that they've been able to capitalize with points on most drives than not.
Yeah. And especially off of turnovers. If I'm not mistaken, there's only been one turnover drive for Carolina that hasn't resulted in points. And other than that, they've been able to punch in 3 of the interceptions the other way, which put them out into a big lead. Take those away, it could be a closer ball game, but Kopech allowed them, and it's just something you have to look back on in this game.
I think it was a holding on the offensive line. Actually, they're going to call it a block in the back. That was pretty apparent. I think it was against number 93 for Carolina, Christopher Colon, whoever was blocking for, Chris Colon. No, it was actually on Stinson. Yep, clear block in the back. So Charleston not making things easy for themselves. They're going to have a very long way to go to get the first down. Kopech to throw, checks it down. It's not going to go for much. It's about 4 yards on the play at best. Montana, 2nd and 21.
Yeah, and I mean, you have a monstrous way to go. You have a few plays to do so, however, and that's not a way to get it done by just a short little route to the outside there. And they're just trying to, again, this seems like a situation that we talked about at the end of the first half where you just don't want to turn over on your own side of the field.
Kopech checks it down again on another screen. Trying to get some blockers, unable to do so, only a 2-yard gain. 3rd down and 19 yards to go, and at some point, you really have to push the ball downfield, DJ, and I think this has to be the down.
Yeah, you don't want to be forced to do so. You want to be able to do it on your own accord, and now this is a very instance where they're forced to do so.
Play action, Kopech with time, throws the ball deep, and it's incomplete. Colston on the coverage. 4th and 19, and Charleston, has no chance but to punt this one away.
Former Lycan making a big play there to hit that one away, and like I said, going to punt. You can't let up a nice field position drive the other way. If you go for this and you don't get it, which is very possible with how you've been passing and the sheer amount of down and distance you have to go, would be detrimental for Charleston. But they punt, and it's already inside the 45 on their own side of the field. So this is another situation, Ramos, where they're going to have really solid field position.
Yeah, that's been the name of the game here for Carolina. Just the field position battle has been all Skyhawks all night long. 7 minutes left here in regulation. Carolina 34, Charleston 14, if you're just joining us. The Skyhawks forced 4 turnovers in the first half and able to capitalize with points in at least 3 of them. Handoff to Quintero goes for a gain of 4 yards, and they're just going to start milking the clock, DJ. That's, they don't have to do much more than that.
Yeah, and that's exactly what they should be doing. I mean, you have a 3-touchdown lead. The longer you hold on to the ball, the better chance you have of closing this one out completely.
Handoff to McBride, gets a couple more. And on 3rd and 4, I'm fully expecting Carolina to just keep it on the ground. Quintero gets the handoff, nothing doing, maybe back to the line of scrimmage, not much more than that. Thomas on the stop. Carolina will have to punt the ball back, but that's all Carolina wanted, right? I mean, just take a couple minutes off the clock and not force a turnover.
Yeah, and when you look at the score of this game, already in this one, Carolina has scored more points than they ever had previously in any of the 19 total meetings of the B&G Cup before this. Their previous best, 32, back in week 5 of season 16, where they beat Charleston 32-30. One more touchdown, however, will make it the biggest win ever for one of these teams, surpassing Charleston, who won 38-16 back in season 21. So some big implications score-wise for this rivalry, and that's one of the biggest things you got to look at in this game, Ramos. Is this is a rivalry game. This game means the most out of any for these two teams.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is a statement win here for Carolina, who's trying to keep their postseason hopes alive. That will be 2 wins in a row for the Skyhawks to go up to 3-6, and they can run the table. They will be at 6-6 and still with a chance to make the postseason. Hand off to the outside. McLean cleans that one up. Maybe a loss of a yard, and just nothing going Charleston's way. Pretty much all night long. They did have a couple of decent drives in the third quarter, but maybe just too little, too late. Kopech checks it down, stiff arms, but going out of bounds for only a gain of 3 yards is Montana, and 4th down and 4. Now Charleston will have to go for this.
Yeah, and they just keep going for those flats, Ramos. I mean, that's just not going to work if you continue to do it, especially in longer distance scenarios. I mean, they're not going to do it now as they're set up and empty, but it's really put a damper in their offense, I feel.
Kopech to throw. Throws it outside. Incomplete. Great coverage on the outside. And it's been that way. Skip Curtis on the pass deflection. It's been that way all game long for the Carolina DBs.
Yep.
It's just been outstanding across the board. Davis and Joseph got us going early. Mike Ryan and Rochelle Colston in the 3rd and 4th quarter, and now Skippy Curtis joins in the action.
Yep, seals it, if you will, because Carolina now just has to run it out a few more times. And, something interesting to look at for the divisional lineup here, Ramos. Up to week 11, Carolina had not played a divisional game. Last week, they played Lexington, where they got the win. Now they're playing Charleston, another divisional opponent, where they, seemingly at this point, I think we can say they've gotten the win. And then next week, they'll be playing Florida, another divisional opponent. And then in the final week of the season, they'll have Florida again. So there's still a chance for Carolina to go perfect in the division. And for playoff implication, that's one of the more important things that matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Carolina in scoring position yet again to start their drive. They had a 5-yard pickup on the first play, and McBride gets it to the outside. Nothing doing there. Loss of 1. And, for Carolina, coming up here later on in the season, they have to go at Florida, 4-5. Then they play against Sin City, who just blew out Mexico City. And then they finish the season at home against Florida again. So 2 storm games in the last 3 weeks of the season. Not easy, with Sin City sandwiched in between.
It's a rough finish.
It's a rough finish, but Carolina has played well over the last couple of games, as we've been talking about. As Tamango makes another stop. 4th and 1, and Carolina will trot out the field goal unit, you will expect.
Yeah.
For Charleston, they have just a couple of games left on their schedule. They have Fort Worth next week at Fort Worth, and then they have to go at Lexington to play the Miners. So this is the last game here in Charleston, and since they have a bye week last week of the season. So. Tough endings for both teams. Fort Worth is much better than the record will suggest, at 3-5.
Yeah, they sure are. Yeah, they're a solid squad. They had an offensive explosion this week. Weren't able to get the win, but their offense showed that they're much better than, like you said, their record dictates.
Brown puts it between the uprights. It's good. 37-14. Carolina up top. And on Monday, Cameron Irvine and Charles Doherty are back for the Monday Night Spectacular. This week, We head to the top of the Central Division, where the Denver Nightwings and Minnesota Legend fight for an automatic playoff bid and a division title. Kickoff is at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Time. The SFL lives on the Virtual Football Network. So Charleston will try again on offense to try to put some more points on the board. Try to fight till the end. And Kopech will throws deep. The pass is caught right off the seam. That one is good for a big gain. Solomon on the catch. Kopech still under 200 yards passing. We'll check that one down. Gain of about 7 yards, and obviously Carolina's going to allow any of those.
Yep.
Kopech checks it down again on a screen. Nothing doing. What a tackle by Curtis. 3rd down and 3. Kopech drops back, throws deep, the pass overshoots everybody. 4th down and 3.
Yeah, that one just way off the mark. And I don't hate that. Just gives your offense a little bit of recuperation time after they go back to 2 of those flat routes again that result and keep them behind the sticks like we've seen it do all game long. Carolina has a chance to put the final nail in it on this play. And it's in a situation that they're very comfortable with. Dime look for Charleston being forced to pass again.
Empty set. Kopech to throw. Throws deep. Knocked away. Intercepted. That's the 5th. INT for Carolina. Oh, this one is being returned. Past the 30, past the 20. And Carolina puts the cherry on top of a sensational defensive performance. Touchdown, Skyhawks. That's TD Jack with the pick 6.
Yeah, I mean, they take a commanding victory over the Charleston Predators, and like we had mentioned earlier, is the most points ever scored in the battle for the B&G Cup. Carolina making a statement victory in the East, hoping that they can sway the East in their favor.
2-minute warning, Carolina en route for a dominant victory, 43-14. As you are watching the SFL on VFN. Von Brown on the extra point. Make it 44-14.
What a way to cap out the game, Ramos, with another interception. Yep. I mean, that's just rough.
Yeah, and even for Kopech and the rest of this Charleston office, just back to the drawing board. You have to do a better job of protecting the ball and try to bounce back with a win next week. I mean, this is not the season here for Charleston. They are 4-6. They're in that same situation as Carolina, pretty much. If you win all, the last 2 games, you have a good chance of making the playoffs. But 6 turnovers here for Charleston tonight. It's obviously not going to be a recipe for success.
Yeah, absolutely, and probably going to throw this one in. I mean, their offense, especially late in this game, it seems like they're just going with what's available. And against this Carolina defense, really the only routes that are open consistently are those flat routes, so they keep throwing them, which then chews more time off the clock, which keeps you behind the sticks, and it's just not a good recipe for offense.
Throwing the ball up the seam, incomplete as Mike Ryan puts the hurt on the receiver. 2nd and 10.
Very nice pass break up there. That's a perfect play to dictate how the game has went this entire time. Carolina defense just making a big play.
2nd down, 10 yards to go. 4 receivers for Kopech. As Solomon goes in motion, makes a trip set up of the screen. Kopech drops back to throw. Pats the ball, checks it down. That's going to be Montana with about 8 yards. 3rd and 2, and Charleston will call a timeout.
Yeah, they do, hopefully, to find something that'll work on this play. They don't have time to run. Previously, what we probably would have seen them done is maybe one of these QB runs with Kopech. They just don't have the time anymore to do so, and after another screen pass, they're forced into 3rd and short. This is what we've seen all night.
Yep. Kopech checks it down, and that's going to be just enough.
Man.
As well, this bad comes to worse as J.O. Montana is down with an injury.
Ouch. Not the way you want to close out the game.
Nope.
Thankfully, we have the best doctors in the world. He'll be back next week.
Yeah. It's just rough game all around for the Predators. Yeah, we just, have to go back to the drawing board and, bounce back next week. Kopech throws the screen. It's about 2 yards and out of bounds. Hoagland on the catch. Stops the clock with 1:24 left.
It's more of the same offensively, but at least that time manages to get out of bounds as Hoagland, as they continue with this east to west style offense, try and go a little bit more vertical to try and save yourself some pride.
Oh, to the outside, that is going to be a catch, and Solomon actually gets the edge. Solomon goes all the way to the 14, and Solomon is down.
No.
I mean, this is just disaster for Charleston. I mean, even when they have a good play, it just has something bad at the end of it seems.
Yeah, that's just awful. I mean, that's what, the fourth injury to pass catchers in this ball game, Ramos?
Yeah.
2 for each side. Man, they got turf monsters on the field tonight, if you will.
Solomon ends his game. Yep, Solomon ends his night with 3 catches for 70 yards. As Kopech drops back to throws middle. The pass is caught by Spelling. A gain of about 7 yards. To the 8-yard line they go. 2nd and 3 upcoming for the Predators. To throw passes, and the pass is caught. Great throw. One of the best throws of the night for Kopech. Touchdown to Spelling.
There we go. I mean, it's a late touchdown, but that one's for pride. Spelling, one of their better receivers all night, able to punch that one in. And Ramos, of course, that's not going to let you come back in this game and get a win. But what that does is cut the lead down after the field goal to 23. Prior to that touchdown, that would have been the largest margin of victory in any B&G matchup of all time. The only one close was in season 22, where Charleston beat the Skyhawks by a margin of victory of 27. With that touchdown, that pushes this game to 2nd all-time, a margin of victory of 23.
As this onside kick is fielded cleanly by Carolina. And with that, they just have to put some knees on the dirt. And the Carolina Skyhawks will come away with the victory. And for the knees that they will take, I mean, they will lose about, 5-6 yards taking knees. I mean, that will mean that Charleston and Carolina basically will have almost the same amount of total yards. But, I mean, the game was nowhere close. Let's just be perfectly frank. I mean, it was Carolina defensively dominating and getting the takeaways and getting short fields for their offense.
Yeah, I mean, looking at that first quarter as a whole, it felt like once that quarter was over, it already kind of felt out of reach for Charleston. Of course, crazier things have happened, but as that second quarter went on and the third quarter ended, it really did feel like it was just all for naught, if you will, for the Predators. And BD3 going to kneel this one away, giving Charleston their 11th win all time over the Predators. And dominating the series, they will continue to do, having more wins than their opposition all time.
We'll just take one more knee for Brian Dynasty and the Carolina Skyhawk offense. Best output of the season, best game of the season for Carolina for sure. Been a tough season for the Skyhawks, but they're playing well at the right time. They're playing well over the last month and a half of the season, and that's where you want to rack up the wins. And
Hmm.
hopefully it's not too late for the Skyhawks because they're an exciting team that has a lot of talent, and
Yeah,
I think that if they can get to the playoffs, they can make some noise
yeah, for sure.
because they can just beat anybody in the SFL.
Yeah, they have a tough, rough stretch of games to finish out the season, but this one, scoring more points than they have all season long, it's a good way to get your confidence up going into the last rough stretch of games.
44-21, Carolina beats Charleston, and DJ. I mean, not a whole lot to talk about post game. I mean, just a dominant performance for Carolina. I just want to hear your player of the game, and some overall thoughts at the end of it. What you thought?
This felt more. This didn't really feel like the season 25 Skyhawks. This felt like a time traveler grabbed the season 24 Skyhawks and dropped them into this game, right? They just felt like they were on a whole nother level. It felt like the team we watched all season last season, and they finally got some of those pieces back and fired like they did all season long last season. As far as the player of the game, the entire defensive backcourt will get my nod, but of course you got to give it to Davidson Joseph as an individual.
Yeah, I agree with you. It will go for Davis and Joseph as well. 3 interceptions in the first quarter. They just, and they stopped throwing his way for the most part. But it was too late. It was after the 3 interceptions. So for Ron Haynes and Ike McBride on the stats crew, DJ Kilgannon and Cameron Irvine pushing the buttons. This was Ramos Lynn. Thank you very much for watching the SFL here on BFN, and we'll see you next time. Peace.